Hi guys, welcome back to our 21-day yoga challenge. The last session we spent more strengthening the body, and today we're going to spend the session more lengthening the body. So as I said on our last session, we should always strengthen before we lengthen, which is why I've done them in this order. Today's practice is going to be about those lovely, juicy, deep stretches. And actually it's probably what people perceive yoga to be. Deep stretching, lovely stretching. If anyone that perceives that, give them the strengthening session and then they'll know different. So today we are going to start laying down, and you're going to need your strap handy pretty early on. So heading straight down into that Shavasana pose. Remember, you can have an alternative. You could go feet together, knees wide, and you could hang out in Supta Baddha Konasana here, or simply in your Shavasana. Arms are resting to the side of our body with our palms open. Our shoulders are descending down away from the ears. And then we're going to find a little bit of lift through the chest space, a little bit of an opening. Once we've settled, taking an inhalation in through the nose and sighing that breath out the mouth. Then give yourself 30 seconds to do absolutely nothing. Now take a breath in through the nose and let the breath go. Take another breath in through the nose and start to fill up the chest. Lengthening the exhalation on the way out. Take another breath in. Exhale the breath all the way out. Continue to breathe here, aware of the breath, conscious of its ebb and flow. Feel your belly rising, feel it falling. Continue to breathe here, aware of the breath the entire time. And then we're going to very slowly, keeping the breath awareness, keeping the arms as they are, bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to fall wide as you come into your Supta Baddha Konasana. This is very opening for the hips, and if it's too much, take your feet down further away from you. Don't have the heels quite so close to the body. Staying focused on the breath as you take 5 rounds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now what you're going to do is you're going to stay in this position, take another breath, but as you inhale, press the soles of the feet together and you're going to feel your knees lift slightly. Allow them to. And as you exhale, relax the thighs, relax the feet. Inhale, soles of the feet press together, in the thighs draw in. Exhaling to relax. And again. Twice more. And just allow the body to stay in the relaxed state for a couple more breaths before we inhale and bring the knees in towards one another. We're going to pull the right knee in towards us, hugging the thigh in towards the chest. Using your strap around the ball of your foot, we're going to stretch the back of the leg by pressing the heel away from us. Toes towards the shins, and breath by breath seeing if we can encourage that leg to go a little bit deeper without forcing it. Remember, if we have to force it, we shouldn't be there. We shouldn't be doing that. You can have a micro bend here. You could give the back of the leg a little bit of a massage. Use and work with your breath. Notice how when you don't pay attention to it, the mind wanders. When you're ready, encouraging the left hip to stay grounded as we take that right leg out to the side, just as far as is comfortable. Keep the foot in flexion. If the leg shakes, then just pop it up a little bit to the point before it wanted to do that. Let the left shoulder, left side of the body stay nice and grounded. And then hopefully you haven't got a wall to the left of you like I have. But we're going to inhale, come up. We're going to lengthen the left leg. Take the strap into the left hand. And exhale as we pull this into a twist. Bringing the leg across the body. And your right arm out to the sides. Inhale. And exhale. Just 2 more breaths here. This is quite strong on the internal rotation of the hips, so notice how that feels. And whenever you're ready, slowly inhaling and coming back up. I'm going to bend the left knee again. I'm going to release the strap for now. Take your right ankle over your left thigh. I'm going to take the hands, reach through this gap in the thighs and pull your left thigh towards you for reclined pigeon. You're going to take a breath. As you exhale, let your shoulders relax, let the spine lengthen. As you breath by breath, bring this knee in. What you might find is your tailbone wants to lift. Try not to let it lift if we can help it. Breathe into the tight spaces. One more breath, and then we can slowly release the back of this left thigh. Take your right hand to either your right big toe, the outside edge of the foot, the ankle or the shin, and we're going to take this into half happy baby. So we're going to bring this knee, the right knee, to a right angle-ish. Sole of the foot is facing upwards, and breath by breath, we're seeing if this knee wants to descend down further and further. Some knees will need to go slightly wider. Some knees will prefer to be inward slightly. And it's just trial and error, seeing what alignment works best for your body. So we're going to pause here. Just allow that knee to descend, the shoulders to relax as we breathe into that hip space. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Maybe move deeper on the exhale. One more breath. Notice how the hip feels. Try not to judge yourself and then releasing. Finding your strap, taking it around the ball of the left foot now. Stretching out that left leg. Breath by breath, seeing if this left leg wants to come in. Lower back is pressing down. Optional massaging is always welcome. And seeing if any of those exhalations are going to allow us to move deeper into the space. When you think you're ready, take a breath and then exhale, taking the left leg out to the side now. Your right hand can stay on your right hip just to encourage it to stay down, otherwise it might be tempted to lift and roll over to the left with that left leg. Again, any shaking in the leg, just bring it back a notch. 3, 2, 1. Let the right leg come down. Inhale, come up. Give the strap to the right hand. Exhaling as the leg comes across the body to the right and your head to your left now. As you hold here, relax into the left shoulder. Try and relax into the pose for the last 2 breaths. And then we can inhale and return back up. Bend back into your right knee, release your strap. Ankle over the right thigh, pulling the right thigh in for your figure of 4 chair or your reclined pigeon. The further up the leg you bring this ankle, the more intense it's going to feel. So if you want deeper, bring the foot up a little bit higher to the thighs. If not, a little bit further to the knee is probably going to be about right. Shoulders relaxed, breathing into the hips. Taking that last breath. So if you want to use it to go a little bit further, do so. But equally, if you want to use it to let go a little, let go. Finding the left foot or the left ankle and taking your left side into your half happy baby now. So treat it as a different pose because it might totally love it in one side of the body and the other side not so much. So again, adjusting this knee accordingly. You might not have 2 sides the same. And breath by breath, seeing if this knee wants to descend down further and further. Never forcing it. The moment we start to force, we're not practicing yoga anymore. And then you're welcome to stay with this half, or bringing the right side in now for a full happy baby. The lower back presses down, so there shouldn't be much room to rock up and down the spine. You should have a bit of momentum to maybe rock from side to side. As the lower back is working down, knees descending down, we're going to hold here for 5 full breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, then we're going to release the toes, bend the knees and maybe just hug in. And when you're ready, we're going to rock ourselves all the way up, all the way over as you come into a ragdoll forward fold at the front of your mat. So just hang in, you know the score with the ragdoll fold now. Being super passive here. Really gentle, breathing into the backs of the legs, into the lower back. And then from here, we're going to bring the hands to the mat. We're going to inhale, lift halfway, and we're going to heel toe your feet out roughly as wide as the mat with your toes turned out and your heels turned in. As you exhale, we're going to drop the hips down towards the mat, and then we're going to lift them again. Exhale, dropping down to giving it your best frog impression. You want to stay nice and heavy in the outside edges of your feet. Few more times, just slowly easing into these hips, into the hamstrings. And then you can come down into a malasana or yogi squat. Now, just so that you're aware, a yogi squat can be here, it can be here, or it can come all the way down. It's entirely your preference always. From here, you're going to keep your right foot where it is. So we're going to step your left foot to the back of the mat and bring the left knee down. We're going to press into your left hand and our right hand is going to come to the inner thigh. Rolling perhaps the outside edge of that right foot. I'm going to lift the chest away from the thigh. I'm going to breathe here into the hips. From here, we're going to bring the hands to the inside of the right foot now, ground into the right foot. I'm going to keep the left knee down, but by all means you can lift it up. And we're going to just circle, move, wiggle into this right hip. And then, instead of bending into the knee, we're going to exhale, we're going to lengthen the right leg. Imagine trying to sit our right butt cheek down, pressing in to the right big toe. Breathing here now more into the hamstrings. Inhaling and exhale. Once more. And then we're going to bend back into the knee. As we press into the foot now, we're going to lift the chest forward and up. So we're not turned out, we're not rolling to the edge of the foot. Chest is lifting as you press down into that big toe. Option to stay here or option to lift this into a high lizard. 3, 2, 1. We're going to step the left foot wide of your left hands. Exhale, drop in the hips again. Inhaling as we lift. Exhale to drop. Finding your own little funky rhythm, your little rise and fall in your frog lifts, I like to call them. They're not actually called that, I don't think. Well, I do know a thing. They're not called that. As you drop back down, you're going to keep the left foot where it is, the right foot steps back, right knee comes down. Press into the right hand. If the floor's too far away, use your props. Turning that left hip out, lifting, peeling the chest away from that inner thigh. You should feel a nice stretch to the inside of the left hip, breathing into it. How does this side feel in comparison to the other side? When you're ready, slowly transitioning, bringing the left hand to the inside of our left foot now. Adding those little circles, those little pockets of movement that we know work for us and our body. If your left side feel a little bit tighter than the right or the other way around. And when you're ready, we're going to extend that left leg. So it doesn't need to be straight. Mine gets to here before I feel the pull. It doesn't need to straighten for you to feel that stretching through the back of the leg. Inhaling. Exhaling into the muscles. One more breath. And then we're going to come forwards, pressing into the left foot, pressing into the hands, chest forwards and up, shoulders back and down. Option to lift into your high variation, holding here. 3, 2, and 1. Then we're going to step the right foot back wide of the hands. We're going to come into Malasana, or you can lift up and down in those little froggy lifts again. If not, we're coming down now. We're going to press into all 4 corners of the feet. We're going to lift through the spine. What you don't want to do Malasana is sink. If we sink, you can see my shoulders now look really lovely around my neck. The outside edges of my feet want to lift and my spine is probably really rounded. So we're going to ground into the outside edges of the feet. Then we're going to lift the hips a few inches. We're going to then lengthen through the spine and hold there. 2 more breaths. 1 and 2. Bring the hands to the mat. Lift the hips. Heel toe your feet in. Inhale, coming all the way up now. And if you take a bit of a stretch at the top, exhale into your forward fold, Paschimottanasana. No, it's not, it's Uttanasana. Hand to toe variation as you tuck chest in towards your thighs. Really lengthening through the entire back body now. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. So bricks could potentially be handy here, but not vital. We're going to keep your right foot where it is and step your left foot about half of the way back as you ground into the left heel. The right leg can be straight or it can have a micro bend, and the hands are going to frame your right foot. As you inhale, bring your chest parallel to the ground and lengthen. As you exhale, we're going to melt the chest in towards this right thigh. So if the floor's a little bit too far away, then you can use those bricks. If not, breathe in here. Anchor into your left heel while you're scissoring the legs together. One more breath, and then all the weight is going to come forward to your right foot, and we're going to allow the left leg to float into the air for our standing split. Again, don't worry about how far this leg lifts. You can see that mine doesn't go all the way up. If you look at certain pictures, it will go up towards the ceiling, but guess what? I still get the stretch here anyway. And then we're going to step that left foot down to meet your right foot. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale now, you can either take your hand to toe variation, or we're going to bring the palms underneath the balls of the feet and allow the weight to shift forwards. Take 3 breaths. 1, 2, and the 3rd. Then we can release the hands. Keep the left foot where it is. Step our right foot halfway back, turning the toes out, heels in. Hands framing the left foot now, using your bricks or the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen so the chest becomes more parallel to the ground. As you exhale, pressing into that right heel as your chest melts over this thigh, whether it's got a micro bend in it or not, it doesn't matter. Inhale. And exhale. And again. Letting all the weight come forward into the left leg. Right heel is going to lift into that standing split. Really use the glutes to help find a nice extension. You can point the right toes, you can flex, whichever feels more energizing for you. When you're ready, step your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, coming all the way up. If you want to add a little back bend to counteract some of those folds, then please do. Exhale, bring the hands back down. From here, I'm going to step or jump into your plank pose. I'm going to pop down onto the knees. I'm going to offer you two variations. One of them is more intense than the other. You can take your child's pose with the knees quite wide and toes together and let the hips sink down and rest in your child's pose, but with a nice little bit of juicy hip opening. Or if you would prefer to, you can take this into a frog pose. Please don't take frog if you have any knee injuries, any knee niggles. It is not for everybody. I will show you and then I'll get back out of it because it's not for me either. But everybody is built differently. So some bodies will be able to take that kind of movement and others not so much. So either here or you're going to come up with the hips. So the hips are more in line with the knees now. You might want to turn around or you might want to turn around so you've got support underneath your knees. Then it's up to you how wide you let these knees go. And then the hips are going to start to melt down towards the mat. So you can see it's slightly different to your child's pose. It does feel a little bit more intense on the inside of the thighs, inside of the hips. So if that isn't for you, then we are going back to knees wide, toes together in our child's pose, where we're going to take another 5 breaths here. 1, 2, as you're exhaling, seeing if your body will melt a little bit more. 3, 4, and that last breath. If you're coming from frog, move your knees in very slowly, very mindfully. Then we're going to walk the hands back up and we're going to spin around to our seated position. So grabbing any props that you know that you need to elevate those hips. We're going to take your right leg out nice and long, and your left foot is going to come to the inside of your right leg with your knee out wide. If the knee floats a lot and it feels very tense, support the outside edge of the thigh. If I turn around, I can show you with the brick. And you can use cushions, anything. So this side, it's got a little bit more float than what my other side tends to have. So I can always use that to support the knee. And then I can worry about what I'm doing here in this right leg. So actually, I don't know why I'm moving that. I'm going to keep that there. Inhale, lifting up. As you exhale, folding over this right leg. So chest over the thigh. I'm going to spend a few breaths here so breathe into the tightness, breathe into the shoulders, breathe in everywhere. I'm going to go for a couple more breaths. So a nice little bit of a release might be helpful, a little lift out. And as you exhale, taking it back in for those last few breaths. Coming out when you're ready. Left leg is going to be the lengthened one now. Bending the right knee, foot to the thigh, or the inside of the leg, doesn't have to be exactly to the inside of the thigh. Adding support to the outside of the right hip if you need to, right knee. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhaling as we fold from our hips and bow down. You don't have to take hand to toe, pressing into mat either side of your legs is fine. Breathe in, lengthening. Take a little lift out just to create a bit more space. Exhale, fold back in. Inhale, coming out slowly. And we're going to have the feet together, knees wide. We've done this laying down already. This is Baddha Konasana. The only difference is the word Supta, which means reclined, as we took it in the laying down variation. So inhale, lift. Lead the pose with the chest as you fold forwards. Take another breath. Really melt on the exhalation, and then very slowly start to walk the hands up towards you, bringing your legs into cross-legged seated position. Inhale, lift nice and tall. Have your palms open, lifting through the chest. Withdraw from the senses of sight and take your awareness and your gaze inwards now as you inhale through the nose. Exhale, lengthening that breath as long as possible. Doing that another 5 times, please. Really lengthening that exhalation. Let this last breath lengthen the exhalation as much as you can now. And once you release that breath, we are going to release from this practice and place the palms together at the heart center. Bowing forwards to close. Thank you for getting a little bit more stretchy with me today. I hope you enjoyed our stretching session, and I'll see you again for another session tomorrow.